What is the difference between romance and friendship? I think this sounds like a pretty easy question at the beginning, especially if you're an allo person. You may easily think like, oh, well, romance is obviously my partner and friendship is my friends. Like, it makes sense. It's easy. It's universal. Everybody knows that, right? Wrong. I think especially if you're on the ace spectrum, if you're arrow, if you're anything along those lines, it can be very complicated and confusing to think about romance versus friendship, especially because for me personally, a lot of my friendships have become romantic over the years for whatever reason. And so today I kind of wanted to take a little bit of time to just kind of like reflect on friendship and what does that mean and what's the difference between friendship and romance. I have a whole video talking about platonic attraction and also talking about like why friendship is important to ace people, but I haven't really had a chance to discuss the differences between platonic love and romance. You know, I think both of them are important for different reasons and people pursue both of them for different reasons, obviously. But I think friendship is incredibly underrated, and I think a lot of allo people don't necessarily see friendship the same way that asexual people do. Let's start by talking about the definition of platonic love. I talked about this a little bit in my platonic attraction video. We define genuine platonic love as something that is inspiring a person's mind and soul and directing their attention towards spiritual matters. And like I said in the other video, spiritual here doesn't necessarily mean religion or God or anything like that. It doesn't mean crystals or witches or whatever you may think spiritual means. I think spiritual genuinely just means like your spirit, your soul, your being, who you are as a person. And so platonic love is somebody who is inspiring your soul. It's somebody that you want to spend time with, you want to get to know, maybe you want to talk to them, form a deeper connection or a bond. But at the end of the day, that's pretty much all it is. It's an inspiration. It's not necessarily somebody that you're going to go home and kiss at night or somebody who you're going to build your life with. Although it could be like that. I think that's part of the root of this video actually, is talking about where the lines get blurred between romance and friendship. For me personally, I don't necessarily have somebody that I'm planning on spending my life with. I'm not in a relationship. I'm not dating anybody. However, I have a lot of friendships, and all of my friendships are different, but some of them have actually turned into something that is a little bit, I think, more romantic than just a friendship. But it's hard to kind of define that, especially for allo people, because it's just so bizarre. You know, I think a lot of allo people kind of see friendship as this thing that you kind of like leave it at the door, you're friends, and that's it. Like, don't even worry about it. It's cool. It's like, we hang out. That's cool. That's enough. However, for me, since I don't have like a partner, my friendships kind of are my partner. And so there are a couple of people who I constantly am in contact with, people that I think if it came down to it, like I could move in with them and live with them for the rest of my life, but like we would be in separate rooms, we would stay in separate beds. Like, I still need my distance. I can't spend every second with you. So let's talk about my roommate. Her name is Emily. You've probably heard of her. I love her to pieces. She's wonderful. At the end of the day, she is my roommate. A lot of people will ask me if we're dating. We're not dating. I don't kiss her. We stay in separate bedrooms, separate beds. Like, I have time away from her. She is not here right now. She is at home with her parents for a week. Like, we're not together. We don't have like shared finances. The most we share is our groceries and our apartment. That's about as far as it goes. However, I do think that if push came to shove, if I had to live with somebody for the rest of my life and like share the benefit of like, you know, like lowered rent, etc., like I think Emily would be a really great candidate because like I can live with her very easily. And I think she's somebody that I care about so deeply. And I understand that she cares about me in the exact same way. And so whether or not we like have romantic partners, whether or not she gets married or I get married or whatever, like she is somebody that I think could take on the mantle of like being like a significant other, a partner, but not in like an allo sense, not in a romantic way, not in a sexual way, like just somebody that I happen to live with who can support me as I grow old. Because I love her and she understands me and we can talk about things, you know? So I see that as friendship, but I think a lot of people could see that as more of a romantic notion, you know? Like somebody that you share so much with, that you see constantly, that like you have inside jokes with, and other people don't really understand how you interact because like you spend so much time together. But technically it's a friendship. It's technically platonic. There are definitely no romantic or sexual feelings towards Emily from me. But this could kind of be seen as a QPR. I haven't really done a lot of research into QPRs because I don't know. I just haven't really gone down that road yet. But QPR is a queer platonic relationship. And so that is kind of like the next step. It's in between romance and friendship. It's something that you're so comfortable with them that like maybe you live with them. Maybe they become like a lifelong partner, but you really only have platonic attraction towards them. They're only inspiring you, but they're not actually somebody that you want to like be physical with necessarily. Although, again, it's another thing. Every time I say something, I feel like it's difficult to leave it at that, because there's just so many blurred lines that every person is different, every relationship is different. Sometimes you can't define a relationship because it has pieces of all types of attraction in it at any given time, you know? Recently, I read a book called Ace by Angela Chen. It is a nonfiction book full of a lot of different interviews mashed up into one big commentary on ace people and different types of asexuality. And there's a whole section about friendship and aromanticism and what it looks like for ace people to have romance or not have romance. And so part of why I liked it so much, especially that section, is it talks a lot about how friendship and romance doesn't necessarily have to be that different. I think there are a lot of things in romance that friends can do. I think there's a lot of overlap between the two of them. I think the biggest difference between the two for me personally is the idea of spending your life with somebody. It's attaching yourself to somebody and like making more of a public pronounced commitment, you know? And I have that with a lot of my friends, like emotionally, mentally, like I have committed to lifelong friendships, and I think that could be kind of romantic in some ways, but I think it's different when you are like actively writing down, like, this is my emergency contact, this is the person that I am spending my life with, that like we're getting benefits from it from the government, like we're together, we're not going to get separated no matter what, we're committing. Whereas I think with like actual friendships, like you don't really have like a written document of like staying together forever. You're just kind of trusting the other person and hoping that they're going to keep following through with you. And I think that's really the main difference for me. It's like, now I'm thinking about it and I'm like, but that's stupid, because like emotionally, like I'm connected to these people, like I am committing down the line to be friends with my friends forever. And it's usually the other person who quits before I do. So I don't really know. I'm not really sure what's happening. Recently, I actually found I'm making new friends. So that's good. I'm 26 and I'm making friends. But there are some new friends who recently came into my life. And I have spent a couple of weeks/months trying to understand how I feel about them, especially one of them. And there was a long time where I was like, is this romantic attraction or is this platonic attraction? I'm not sure. And I'm just now getting to the point where I think I'm confident enough to say it is just platonic attraction and it's not romance. But because of that whole situation, it forced me to kind of take a step back and kind of see like, what is the difference truly? Like, what makes me want to be romantic with somebody versus want to be just friends with somebody? And I think, again, it's so hard because I see my friends as my romance. I see, like, I want to have big romantic gestures for all my friends. Like, I want to make them playlists. I want to like buy expensive things for them. Like, I want to show them I care, talk to them on the phone at like 2 a.m. for hours and hours, you know, like I see myself in a romantic relationship with all of my friends. But I think at the end of the day, like, that's where it ends. Like, I just want to talk to them at all times. I want to hang out with them. I want to do fun stuff with them and take pictures with them. But like at night, I want to go home. I want to be my own person. I want to be asleep in my bed by myself with nobody else, you know? I think that's the most important thing that I have realized in thinking about friendship versus romance is it's kind of like that intimacy. There is an intimacy between like sleeping in the same bed with somebody every night versus we are going to go home to separate bedrooms, to do our own thing, to be our own people, you know? And I think as friends, you can come together and be one person, but for the most part, like 90% of my friends, we're not one person. We are separate beings, and that's basically where it ends, you know? And so I think with these new friends, especially this one friend that I'm thinking of in particular, I kind of thought about it a lot, and I was like, okay, like, he's really attractive. Like, maybe I am romantically attracted to him and I want to kiss him because he looks pretty, but no, that's not it. I don't want to kiss him. He just is really nice to look at, and I would like to look at him for a long time because he like makes me laugh and he has funny faces and he winks at me sometimes because that's really fun, and friends do that, right? Or is this romance? I don't know. I'm not sure, but at the end of the day, again, I don't want to go home with him. I just want to talk to him. That's it. I just want to talk to him for a long time because he inspires me. And this brings me back to that definition of platonic love being like something that inspires your soul. And I think for the most part, that has looked like a lot of different things for me over the years, but most of my friends, the reason I'm still friends with them is because I look at them or I talk to them and they make me want to do stuff. You know, they make me want to find new books or new movies, or maybe they like the music that I listen to, and so we can bond over that. Maybe it's something that like they are super passionate about the stuff that I do, even if they don't do it. You know, I have a lot of friends who are very vocal about my books, that they really love them and they always want to read them, but like they don't necessarily write books. And so it's like stuff like that I think you could get that from a romantic partner very easily, you know, that kind of support or that kind of similarity, familiarity, etc. But for me, again, it doesn't go any further than that. But those are the relationships that I have with my friends. They inspire me, and I see them as these cool people who pay attention to me, who make me laugh, who laugh at my own jokes, and that's it, you know. And I think it's just so fascinating to think about the difference between friendship and romance and to kind of see where the lines blur. It's really fun talking to allo people about it because I think they see it differently than ace people do. And luckily I have found some really incredible friends who understand where I'm coming from with my friendship, who let me be romantic with them without like worrying that I'm falling in love with them or anything like that, as far as I know. At the end of the day, again, like I said, it can be really confusing, especially if you're a baby ace or if you've never really understood the difference between the two of them. It's taken me 26 years and I still don't think I understand the difference. I still don't really know if I'm romantically attracted to anybody. I don't really know how I make friends or why I'm friends with the people I am. But I think my biggest advice to you, if you're on the fence, if you're trying to figure out what that looks like, is to just keep reading, keep like hearing more stories, talk to other people. I think talking to your friends and kind of reflecting with them can also be very helpful, because they can tell you how they feel maybe and say, well, I don't want to kiss you. Do you want to kiss me? Maybe that's the difference. Maybe it's something else. I don't know. There's so much out there. And I think for me, the most helpful thing has been learning and like exploring what's out there, exploring what other people are doing, and reading books. You know, books are really helpful to me personally. I have a lot of books that I could recommend, but a great place to start is the Ace book by Angela Chen. She really just like explores a lot of different types of asexuality and friendships and romance. And so yeah, there's so much, and I know it can be very overwhelming. So if you're struggling, if you need somebody to talk to, there are so many great people in the comments who can talk with you. You can check out my other Ace 101 series videos. There's a lot of people out there who are going through the same things that you are. And I just want to let you know you are not alone. At the end of the day, friendships are really, really important, and you don't have to be ashamed if you don't have friends, if you don't have romance. Like, they are just things that happen to us people on this earth. Everything is great. You're not alone. And I really do love you. And I am so, so proud of you for even just like taking the chance to reflect on your own sexuality or to learn more about somebody that you love.